Hey, what's up, guys? Excuse me, JP with Rideshare Orange County here, doing a quick little video, something to throw up on the channel since I haven't posted anything in a few days. Not much new going on the rideshare front. I think last I checked, which was about an hour ago, there's nothing new really going on with AB5. The last big news we talked about in the last video was the rally up in Sacramento, and I believe I mentioned that it has come out that well, I'll still say allegedly, but there's proof out there that I believe that Uber did indeed pay drivers $100 each to show up there and wear the t-shirts and whatnot and say, yeah, we support what Uber wants, we support independence for drivers. And you know what, I support independence for drivers too, but I do not support Uber 100%. They need to pay drivers more than what they're paying currently. And they need to give drivers some sort of representation within the company. Now, Ubers are already going to these labor unions, to SEIU and other unions, and trying to make deals with them because unions have a lot of political clout. Some of them do, and trying to, create the loopholes so they don't have to even if AB5 did pass, hopefully they would be exempted from taking on the gig worker drivers on as employees, right? We can just stay on as quote-unquote independent contractors. Now, I hope we do get to stay on as independent contractors, but we need a fair negotiation with the company for our rates, instead of the company just saying, this is what we're paying you, take it or leave it. If you don't like it, don't drive. I know somebody will say, well, if you don't like what they pay you, just quit and find another job. And if you want to fight for more money and this and that, that's socialist, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, okay? I get it. This is capitalist. This is capitalist America. But you know what? Hey, if companies and corporations can try to get as much as they can from me, they're trying to get every single dollar worth of work out of me for as cheap as possible. Why can't I, in turn, try to get as much money from them as I can? As an independent contractor, as a business owner, technically I own my own quote-unquote rideshare business, right? I'm contracting that service to Uber. Why shouldn't I try to demand as high a rate as possible from them that I can get them to pay? That's capitalism to me, man. It can go both ways. It doesn't mean that just ultra Uber, big corporations should be able to just dictate what they're gonna pay people, and people either just accept it or quit. Those are the only two options. It's bullshit. That's not socialist or communist to not want to quit your job and to want to stay doing what you're doing, but you want to see change. Change is good for everybody. Making more money is good for everybody. It's good for the economy. Can we get paid more money? Do you think the CEOs need to make $45 million friggin' dollars a year? No. They do not need $45 million a year. Give them half that much money and put the difference in the driver's pocket. I'd be happy with, damn, if I even could get $1 million a year, one of those $1 million a year, I would be more than satisfied. Anyways, yeah, if this does pass, hypothetically, let's say, and we do become employees, there's, we already talked about they'd have to pay us minimum wage, but something I didn't mention, I don't think, is, too, they'd have to pay us for gas expenses, for maintenance fees, and probably insurance costs too. Well, I guess they already kind of provide insurance, that insurance they give, once you go online, you're covered X amount of money for X amount of things, and then once you pick up a passenger, then the insurance coverage goes up until you drop that passenger off, but that's like $1,000 deductible. Anyways, I guess they could get around the insurance by saying, well, they provide insurance already. But anyways, yes, they would have to pay us for gas and mileage, because they're required, if we were employees, to pay us minimum wage. And if they said, oh, well, but you have to pay fuel and maintenance costs out of your pocket, out of your paycheck, then we would probably be making less than minimum wage. And I have a case in point, because Disney, the Walt Disney Company, a while back, they tried to charge their employees at Disney World for laundering their costumes. And the unions that, or, you know, the Disney cast members were under caught wind of this. They went to the company and said, hey, no way, you can't do that. After you're taking the money out to launder these costumes, you're paying these guys less than minimum wage. I believe it went all the way to court, where a court actually ruled, like, yeah, you're paying your employees less than minimum wage, and you cannot charge them to launder their costume because they're required to wear that costume to work. You're telling them you have to wear your costume in order to do your job, and then you're hitting them on the back end by charging them to even to launder their uniform that they're required to wear. So we're required to drive our own vehicles, right? To drive passengers, and we pay for the gas. The company doesn't give us gas cards to put gas in our car to cover the gas expense. No. So they would have to do something. They would either have to give us extra money in our paycheck or pay us X amount of gas per mile we drove, or figure something out, as well as you know, some kind of compensation per mile for, you know, other costs like maintenance, wear, tear, depreciation, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to figure out if when that does happen and we become employees of Uber and Lyft. And I really don't honestly know if it would even work out. I don't know if they would actually literally just pull out of California market, but from what it looks like, that if this passes in California, it could definitely spread to other states. Other states are already cracking down on rideshare. Look at New York, not the whole state, but New York City, right? Now you got to go through the TLC, and I think it's the Taxi and Limo Coalition or something like that. To, you know, you got to take a bunch of classes, you got to get an upgraded driver's license, you got to get drug tested. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through, a lot of steps you got to go through now, just to drive Uber or Lyft in the 5 boroughs inside of New York City. So I think what they call the Wild West days of rideshare are over, where it was completely unregulated, and now Uncle Sam is going to start stepping in, and they're going to start wanting to set rules for, you know, these rideshare companies. And obviously rideshare companies are fighting it because they want to just do their own thing and be able to pay us, you know, whatever they want to dictate, and not have anybody interfere with their business. And I don't know. I just think it's crazy that the CEOs are making $45 million and they're taking 60% of all the fares on average. Apparently, I mean, I really haven't done any extensive studies and done any math on my own trips and all that, but from what I understand, from what I've heard from longtime rideshare drivers, as of now, they're taking about 60% on average of all fares. You know, it varies trip to trip. Some trips you get more than that, some trips you get less, but on average, 60% to the company, 40% to the driver, and it's just not enough to really make it worth it. Yes, it puts money in your pocket, but that's right now money. That's money that you can spend right now, but you're going to have to pay for later, when you got to get your brakes changed, when you got to get your oil changed, when you got to get your shocks replaced, when you got to buy new tires for your car, when you go into the dealership to trade your vehicle in and they say you're way upside down on your loan because this car is 3 years old and you've put 100,000 miles on it. So I don't know. I'm not trying to be jaded, and I'm not trying to be cynical about rideshare. I enjoy doing rideshare. It's cool. You get to meet a lot of interesting and fun people. I've had some really cool experiences driving rideshare, and yes, it's nice to have a few extra bucks in my pocket right now. Especially right now, I would not want to do it full time. Now, if it paid better, if the opportunity to really make a decent living was there, I would absolutely do it. But I'm not going to grind for 60 and 70 hours a week just to, you know, make the equivalent of a little bit more than a minimum wage salary. It's something I do part-time, mostly in the evenings. Sometimes, maybe 1 or 2 weekdays and on the weekends, just to give me something to do and to put a few extra bucks in my pocket. But then I get to do this channel and share my experiences and, just chat with you guys. Anyways, that's all I got for right now. I'll try to cut this a little shorter. I don't want to keep rambling on and have everybody tune out. So I'll post something hopefully interesting and new soon. I'll look out for any new news regarding AB5 or anything rideshare related. In the meantime, this is JP, Rideshare Orange County, signing off.